What's up, everybody? Welcome to LaughNapkin. Today I'll be reading 3 stories from r/MaliciousCompliance. And our first story is called Refuse a $40 Refund? Alrighty then. And after that we have You Want Me to Take My Breaks on Time? Sure. And our last story is You Want Me to Feed My Kid Breakfast? Whatever you say. So let's just jump right into it. Refuse a $40 refund? Alrighty then. Story time. Last September, my wife had planned a wonderful Father's Day present for me. Father's Day is in September in Australia. This was to be my first ever Father's Day as a new dad. So to mark the occasion, my wife had arranged to have our daughter's face laser etched onto a dog tag. However, the day before Father's Day, she received the item back and it was, shall we say, subpar. So she came to me and showed me my present early. Now I've had some experience with crappy retailers before and remembered to always come prepared when disputing the quality of any goods and services. So I set my phone to record all audio and approached the retailer. I explained that my wife was upset at the quality of the engraving, and rightfully so, I requested a refund, and was immediately met with resistance. To begin, they blamed the quality of the photo we provided. Then when I disputed that, they said that the laser engraver doesn't do depth very well and some faces can end up with some shadows missing. End of the conversation, they refused a refund and threatened to call security if I didn't leave. The engraver is located in a mall that I also happen to work in. My wife and I left. We straight away left a less than glowing review on their Google page. This was met with accusations of us being unreasonable and threatening violence. Ours was not the only review to which they had this response. They informed us that the matter had been passed on to the local police and that a restraining order had been applied for. We immediately called all local police stations and were delighted to hear that they had never heard of the company in question. After some thought and me being the stubborn bastard that I am, I decided to forward the matter onto the local small claims tribunal. A month or so passed and our day in the tribunal had arrived. We honestly weren't expecting the engraver to show up, but lo and behold, there he was, at a small claims court in camo pants and a hoodie. We met in a room with a mediator who told us that it may not be worth chasing a $40 refund from someone who is, in short, a complete jerk. She warned us that it may end up costing more than the service to begin with. But, as mentioned before, I am a stubborn bastard. We pushed forward, opting to go to hearing. This is when we heard some marvelous news from the engraver. "Oh, I'm not prepared to go to hearing today. I haven't got any of my evidence." Ding ding ding! We went to our hearing that day. The registrar ruled in our favor and issued a notice of payment. The business was to pay us $40 within 2 weeks. 2 weeks later, no payment, no surprise. During this time, I had been communicating via email with the holder of the engraver's lease, who, in response to my complaint, among many others, had decided to terminate the lease effectively, kicking the engraver out of the mall. My man! While the engraver was organizing a new venue for his business, I had filed a motion for a writ for levy of property, meaning the local sheriff was able to enter his premises and relieve him of merchandise to the value of the refund plus court fees, now totaling $139. I informed the engraver, asking him if he would like to settle like a reasonable person or have the sheriff pay him a visit. He was not a reasonable person. Once the writ had been issued, the fee then increased to $225, and all I had to do was wait. And wait I did, until March 13th this year, when the sheriff finally attended his new business premises. He offered an ultimatum: pay the fee or have merchandise repossessed. Ladies and gentlemen, we got him. The man paid. He was stubborn for 6+ months over a $40 refund, only to be down $225 plus $5 interest. You want me to take my breaks on time? Sure. Some quick explanation. I work for a huge company in the customer services department. My job is mainly emails, so a customer will call, speak to a colleague who will create an issue form and send it to the correct warehouse. I sometimes have to take calls when it's urgent or serious. Because of this, I can't always take my assigned breaks on time. This will be important later. Last week, my manager left for a new job, which sucks cause he was awesome. And the guy covering for him, let's just say if someone dropped a car in his head, I wouldn't lose sleep over it. Anyway, right off the bat, on the very first day, the new manager starts barking orders. I already knew him as a very good friend colleague worked under him for months. I had previously spent 30 minutes talking to said colleague cause manager made her cry and hate the job. I used to carry out some extra jobs for the previous manager, but something had happened and I no longer wanted to do it. I informed my old manager, who understood. There were 2 of us doing this job. Let's call this other person colleague. So manager basically questions people like it's an interrogation. I have gone as far as to say to people in passing, if I fart, I swear he'll expect me to tell him how it smells. Manager told me off on the second day for not taking my breaks at the correct time. I tried to explain to him that this isn't always possible. If I get an issue form 5 minutes before my break and it takes 20 minutes to fix, I'll just go for my break after and still have the same amount of time. Manager, that is not acceptable. You're expected to be available to take any issues outside of your allocated break times. Me, I understand, but again, manager, enough. I have told you already. Let this be the last time I hear this. The following day, manager approached colleague and told her she's expected to carry out the old extra task, and I am too. Colleague, has manager told you about the extra task? Me, no, what's up? Colleague, he wants us both to do, explains a new way. Me, yeah, I'm not doing it. I told the previous manager I was dropping it. Colleague, okay. 5 minutes later, manager messages me. The following is a copy and paste. Manager, colleague tells me you don't want to do the extra task. Why? Me, I have my reasons for not wanting to take on the responsibility. Manager, then please explain them to me, as I'm making a reasonable management request for you to support your team. Me, sure. I don't want to because it's not part of my role. I am not obligated, I am underappreciated, and I get nothing extra from it, and a few other private reasons I don't want to discuss. Manager, wow. Well, thank you for the support, OP. You're required to follow any reasonable management requests given to you. I will pick this up formally with you. You won't be required to do anything that's not, as you put it, part of your job role from now on. Thank you. Me, you never formally asked me to do it. You told colleague to tell me. Couple more things were said, but not relevant. So yesterday, I get a call come through, which means it is important. Huge issue. I look at the time and it's 2:20 p.m. My break is at 2:30, but I take the call. Customer complains and explains the issue. I try to help. 2:29 approaches. Me to customer. Sorry, I have to take my mandatory break now. I will speak to you in 30 minutes. And I hang up the phone. Evidently, the customer called back, spoke to someone else, and put a complaint in place, which ended in manager's hands. Manager calls me today, asking, "Why are you so rude and unprofessional to the customer? That attitude is unacceptable, and I'll be taking this to HR." Me, and tell them what exactly? That you had threatened me to take my breaks at the correct second, and when I tried to explain the situation, you completely cut me off? I was following your demands, however unreasonable. You weren't willing to listen, so I acted according to your orders. Manager, regardless, I didn't mean you had to take it at the correct second. A few minutes later, either way would be acceptable. Me, that is not what you said before. and I no longer wish to continue this argument. If you want to get HR involved, I'm happy to proceed. So now I'm waiting to hear from HR to see what the next step is going to be. I have the evidence compiled that he ordered me to take my break at the specific time, but God knows what will happen. Want me to feed my kid breakfast? Whatever you say. Mom is visiting and told me this story. When I was younger, I couldn't eat first thing in the morning or I would throw up. I remember being this way until I was a teenager, so it took a while to grow out of it. Both of my parents worked, so my mom would take me to a daycare when I was too young for school, and I was about 2 or 3 in the story. She would drop me off fairly early, around 7 or so. I would have already been awake for about an hour at this point. The daycare would provide a snack at 10 a.m., no earlier, and all the kids ate at the same time. And since I had been awake with no food since 6 a.m., I would start complaining about being hungry around 9 a.m. Now, my mom had me young. She would have been 17 or 18 at this time. So the daycare, thinking she was young and dumb, told her she had to feed me breakfast and would not listen to my mom when she said I would throw up if I ate anything as soon as I woke up. This went on for weeks before she decided to maliciously comply. Next time she dropped me off at the daycare, I had just eaten a biscuit from McDonald's. She told the daycare worker such. I walked into the daycare, sit down at my favorite toy, and then the vomit starts flying. It took her doing this one more time before the daycare workers asked her to stop feeding me breakfast. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really enjoyed making it. Don't forget to tell me what you think about these stories and submit your own story in the comment section below. See you guys in the next video.